Thank you for that introduction. Good evening to everybody here, Mr. President and the members of the Executive Committee of the United Nations Association of Sri Lanka, Your Excellencies, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and my dear young friends over there. It truly gives me immense pleasure to be in the midst of you all this afternoon, actually to share with you when Mr. Zawahir, your dynamic president, invited me for this occasion. He was introduced as a professional marketeer. He is no professional marketer, he is a super marketeer. I just couldn't refuse him. How could I? When he can even sell a refrigerator to an Eskimo. He's such an excellent marketeer. I've known that for the last 25 years. There was no way I could refuse him. I had some event in the morning which I finished at about say 12 noon. I said, no Zawahir, I'll be there. And then later I wondered, my God, he still has his marketing influence on me. He used to make me buy hundreds of vials of vaccines when I only needed 50. Anyway, thank you. That's about Zawahir, your dynamic president. Anyway, I'm really glad to be present here this afternoon. 8 years ago, as was told, in the aftermath of the most destructive war in human history, the United Nations was born not merely as a political compact, but as a moral covenant. A promise by humanity to resolve its disputes through dialogue rather than destruction, and uphold the inalienable rights of all people. It was in the words of the former UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld, who said, the United Nations was not created to take mankind to heaven, but to save humanity from hell. Sri Lanka, we saw in the documentary too, joined the United Nations in 1955, a decade after it was formed. Since then, our nation has remained resilient, advocate of multilateralism, peacekeeping, disarmament, and sustainable development, with all activities of the United Nations. We have contributed to UN peacekeeping missions in several countries and continents, advanced the cause of health through UNESCO and WHO, and worked tirelessly to achieve sustainable development goals that was mentioned a little while ago. Our close association with the United Nations Association of Sri Lanka, established, as was mentioned, even earlier in 1950 under the guidance of the late Honorable D.S. Senanayake, testifies to this country's deep faith in the United Nations system, long before membership of the UN was granted. Sri Lankan visionaries recognize the value of preparing our citizens, especially the young, to act responsibly and think globally. For 75 years, the United Nations Association of Sri Lanka has sustained that noble cause and mission. Through more than, I believe, 325 school study circles across the island, UNASL has succeeded in bringing the ideals of the UN, peace, equality, and sustainable development into classrooms, communities, and the hearts of people. Your competitions, I listened to the runner and the winner of the oratory contest that you all had. They were excellent. Your debates and your study programs have inspired thousands of minds to learn about international cooperation, human rights, and global citizenship. These being not merely Academic exercises, they are investments in enlightened leadership. The very leadership our nation depends on. Some may ask, I am very certain, in a world still plagued with conflict, inequality and climate catastrophe, whether the UN has lived up to its founding ideals. Has it lived up to its founding ideals? The answer, I believe, lies in perspective. UN is not a perfect organization. Yet, it remains the only universal platform where all nations, large and small, can speak, can negotiate, and can aspire towards common goals. In our interconnected century, where there are global challenges from pandemics to migration, from artificial intelligence to environmental degradation, and now the menace of synthetic drugs. These cannot be solved by any single nation. They require the very spirit of cooperation that the United Nations embodies. I am particularly pleased that this year's observation focuses on Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education. In recent months, our government has taken a very keen interest on the education of the children, the youth, and the generations to come. We have to transform societies and break the cycle of poverty and cultivate peace through education. It should not be limited to classrooms or examinations. It nurtures critical thinking, empathy, and civic responsibility. It teaches us not just how to make a living, but how to live a life with purpose. In Sri Lanka, education has long been a cornerstone of our social progress. Yet, as was mentioned, we must continually adapt to bridge the digital divides, to modernize curriculum, and to make learning inclusive and relevant to a rapidly changing world. I am heartened to see so many young faces here. Dear friends, you inherit a world both more connected, more complex than ever before. The opportunities are also more, while the challenges are also equally there. The choices you make, the values you uphold, will determine whether our planet advances towards harmony or slides into division. Use your education and your voice to build bridges, not walls, certainly not walls. Stand up for fairness, respect diversity, and protect the environment. In an age of digital transformation, digital information and artificial intelligence, let your humanity prevail. Your compassion, your curiosity and your courage be the light that guides you. I just like to talk about this. Over 2000 years ago, Plato offered a timeless warning. You would have all heard about this. The price good men pay for indifference in public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. This, as I told, is an often heard quote. However, today let us see it from a different perspective. What is that perspective? From within a kind and compassionate society, there cannot emerge a wicked or unjust ruler. The reverse is also true. from within a lying, corrupt and dishonest society, there cannot emerge a just ruler. You can't expect a noble, righteous or honest ruler from a society that is not equally that. So I'd like to tell you, we often demand integrity from our leaders. Isn't that so? We demand integrity from our leaders. And that's rightly so. But the greater challenge is to demand honesty from ourselves. How honest have we been? How honest are we? How truthful are we? How straightforward are we? How fair are we in our dealings? Because no leader can remain corrupt for a long time in a nation of honest people, and no democracy can survive when its citizens lose their sense of right and wrong. We have seen in our own country and also in our neighboring countries in very recent times, where when the people upheld the truth, those leaders couldn't survive. When citizens are upright, dishonest rulers cannot prevail. No way. The destiny of every nation is written quietly but powerfully in the conscience of its people. When that conscience is alive, nations rise. When it decays, no army, no wealth, no constitution, no power can save that. A nation's mirror, a nation's leadership is a mirror held up to its own society. It reflects, the leadership reflects the moral strength or the moral weakness within its own people. I would therefore like to tell you, in our day-to-day lives, when a teacher refuses to take shortcuts, when a public servant rejects a bribe, when a parent teaches the child to value truth over advantage, that is where national revival begins. The greatness of a nation is not on its monuments or its financial markets, but in the integrity of its people. Let us then strive, each one of us, to make truth and honesty not a rare virtue, but a common standard. In a nutshell, to sum it all up, when the people are truthful and honest, the nation stands tall. I would like to conclude mentioning to you, to make things more clear, if you have not understood this, to the extent that I wanted. When the state or a government is seen to turn a blind eye, when a state or a government is seen to turn a blind eye to rule breakers and law benders, take it as a warning. There's an attempt at slow corruption creeping into destroying the moral values of that society. Certainly not for the good of the society. For whose benefit is anybody's guess. So don't give in to it. Hold on to your good morals strongly. Because from within a kind and compassionate society, there cannot emerge a wicked ruler. Because rulers emerge from within the society. They do not descend from heaven, nor do they come from hell. They are a mirror of the society. the reverse is also true. From within a lying, corrupt and dishonest society, there cannot emerge a noble, righteous and honest leader. I'll try to translate into Sinhalese because Zava did that in Sinhalese. This I feel is the most important message you take home today. නීතිගරුක ශිෂ්ට සම්පන්න සමාජයක් තුලින් නපුරු කැත කියලා කිව්ව මූණ නෙවෙයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වැඩ කැතයි. නීතිගරුක ශිෂ්ට සම්පන්න සමාජයක් තුලින් නපුරු කැත වංචනීය පාලකයෙක් බිහි වෙන්න හැකියාව නැහැ. ඇයි? ඒ සමාජය ශිෂ්ට සම්පන්න සමාජයක්. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සමාජය කොහොමද? නායකයෝ හෝ පාලකයෝ දිව්‍ය ලෝකෙන් එහෙම නැත්නම් අපායෙන් කටුකම්බි කඩාගෙන එළියට එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ එන්නේ සමාජයෙන්. Therefore, honest leaders can only emerge from within societies that uphold honesty, truth, and who has morals. So with that message, I would like to conclude with a quotation. This is from Jimi Hendrix. I'll tell you who he was and what his destiny was. Jimi Hendrix said, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix was a composer, a musician, and a guitarist. Sad to say, I don't want to end this on a sad note, but it is another reason why we should pursue these efforts for a better society. Jimi Hendrix didn't find peace. He died of asphyxia due to an overdose of barbiturates. He didn't find peace in himself, although he had quoted this. That means he was in search of peace. Peace within himself, which finally amounts to world peace, for which we all aspire for. Thank you very much.